Hello, my name is Connie. Welcome to MzansiOz Diary. So, if you haven't heard of this controversy that has to do with Rachael and Gunn, who competed in the breakdancing category in this year's Olympic. So, breaking made its first debut in Paris 2024 Olympic. It is a sport that involves you start with dancing and you show a little bit of power and strength and balance. So it's look really fun sport actually to do, but you need to be really strong enough to perform those moves that are required as a basic for breaking. So how did they evaluate the sport? It's because breaking involves a top movement, which means that a person they start in standing, performing this movement, and it also involves a top rock. They start a little bit of dance. Top rocks like they're standing, but they're dancing. They move their legs, the footworks, whatever move they do in standing, that is a top rock. And they start with down rock. Down rock's any leg movement while they're on the floor. And it will also include leg sweeps and swings, kicks, 360-degree spin, and power moves, and they showcase the freeze. The freeze is when they in the gravity defying movement where they showcase their strength by balancing maybe with one arm and the legs up in the air. Sometimes they try to lift their body up and it come down and hold a little bit in the air. It is looking like wow, amazing. When you look at it, it's like wow, how did they do that? That is basically what breakdancing looks like in a nutshell. So, how did they score this breakdancing category at the Olympic? So they score them based on the technique. They look at the control, precision, and execution of movement, how the athlete did that, and also how smooth the movement were executed and the clarity of those movements. So as well, they look at variety as well. They look at in that performance, the judges were looking at wide range of moves. So whether the athlete was able to do those basic moves like power moves, the freeze, the footworks, and the top rocks was a fundamental core of breaking. And then they were scored on musicality as well, because as they dance, are they following the rhythm and the beats and the dynamics of the movement? Are they able to interpret the music? And are able to the timing when they do certain moves in relation to the music? That was also another way how they were able to the way scored on. And the fourth one was also creativity, which is they focus on the originality and innovation of the performance, whether they brought something new into their moves under that basic fundamental movement that are required for breaking to be called a breaking. The next category is the performance and personality, how they engage with the audience. It's part of the breaking, they showcasing any attitudes and emotions in that performance. It's part of breaking. Those are five categories that each athlete was needed to demonstrate that they understand, they have the basic necessity skills to enter breaking, and they have to do that, be precise about that, and then they can score them based on how well they did each move. But you need to meet that basic fundamental breaking skills that's required for an athlete to enter at that level. For any actual breaking movement, you need, for it to be called breaking, you need to demonstrate those. Otherwise, if you can just do anything like that, like kangaroo, anyone can do it. You need to demonstrate to have the kangaroo part. That's Rachael, kangaroo moves. She needed to have shown that move in under that basic fundamental of breaking. Okay, so Rachael, she got a PhD at Macquarie University, where she was actually focusing on breaking in, cultural studies in breaking. And yes, I tried to read that thesis. Oh my God, I think I'll need another full video to talk about her thesis about this, because there's a lot of controversy in that as well. But let's look at the most important part here, which is this breaking. So, and then we also had to do the battle where they compete. The two dancer had to show off and prove their move and their moves, how well they execute those moves based on those 5 criteria that I've mentioned, and they were scored accordingly. So they were scored 1 to 10 as an example, and then convert that into percentage. And then, so in each move. So, for example, if a a, a dancer scored 0, so that 0, it means that they actually have not met the minimum standards required to do breaking in that specific moves, in the technique, variety, musicality, creativity, and personality / performance. So that is the crux of it. That means that they fail to meet that minimum basic standard that's required. So in each of one of those. So someone might get 0 in musicality and got about, with Rachael, probably in creativity, like as an example, 80%, 8 out of 10. But that wouldn't have compensated a person to not getting 0 if they had got 0 in technique, because that is the fundamental. To 0 multiplied by 80%. What is the answer, people? Any number multiplied by 0, what is it? Okay, so understand that fundamental. So that's 0. So she got 0. Okay, so Chrissy came out and tried to explain to people how breaking is scored, but you know what? It was just I think she didn't help herself there in that regard, because that I'm here now trying to actually explain to you what it's actually all about. This is actually a sport that is really most popular in the African community, in Black community. Mostly started in America, in New York City, as breaking, and then subsequently other cultures got involved in the sport. It's a beautiful sport, okay? And yeah, there's a lot of controversy about this, but let's have a look at the moves of breaking. They're actually Olympic moves. Let's have a look at the video when they showcase that breaking and then we can talk about the other aspect of the breaking that is so problematic. Yeah, that we need to unpack and have a look at it and explore what was going on here. And let's have a look, guys. Thank you.
Let's look at how Rachael Raygun performed in this Olympic, and I'll just show you some of the Aboriginal and Torres Islander people who are doing this dance in Australia, and also just give you a variation of what this sport is all about and why her actually performance was really under scrutiny, and it just was below the standard. To be honest, it was not the standard of Olympic. I think I watched her performance and I thought, you know what, for the first time ever I can watch someone at Olympic, and I thought, wow, I bet I can do better than her. So yeah, it was ridiculous, shocking. Yeah. And so we can have a look and see how others perform in these categories, just so you guys have a look and see why she was so controversial in this Olympic, and she just did not do breakdancing. I don't know what she was doing there. What was that all about? But definitely that was not breakdancing. You know, it's good if you can see the screen of her and the real breakdancing and Rachel's breakdance. I mean, they are allowed to have creativity. I think she went in there with her PhD. That is what most PhD candidates, they just cannot put things into practice. You know, she went with her theory of breakdancing, cultural studies in breakdancing, and think that she can put that into practice, her PhD into practice at Olympic, and experience with providing something that's actually so different that is not even breakdancing, something else. Looks like someone who was drunk at some point. She was yawning, and it just did not look like any professionalism was there at all at any point. So yeah. And this is what actually I told you in the last video that I posted, that some degrees you're not really gaining anything by doing a master's, honors master's or PhD. You don't gain anything. This is one of the example. PhD in cultural studies in breakdancing, and you get to Olympic, you don't do any, you do something that's totally completely different than breakdancing. It actually questions the credibility. Even her institution is questioning, what on earth would you give somebody a PhD? It's questioning a lot, and we understand that PhD, it's about theories, but most PhD candidates really fail to put things into practice, to put things into clinical practice, to put things into context. It's a theory that explains things and so on, but how is it translate into practice? And she really failed to translate her PhD into practice. Was it worth to do that PhD after all?